Have you ever stopped to wonder if the world we know is just a tiny fraction of what truly exists? Imagine that the reality we live in is merely the tip of the iceberg, concealing secrets buried deep within the shadows of history, some deliberately hidden, others lost in time. Now, what if some of humanity's greatest mysteries were hidden in ancient texts, manuscripts that were banned or locked away because they were simply too disturbing for the public eye? Today, we're diving headfirst into a journey through some of the deepest secrets of humankind. Secrets that challenge everything we thought we knew. We'll uncover ancient mysteries, impossible phenomena, and the lost texts that were banned from sacred scriptures, exploring the enigmatic revelations they offer. Get ready. This journey will stretch your mind, challenge assumptions, and make you question what you think you know about the world around you. Picture this: books you've never heard of, stories that were left out of scriptures, not because they were unimportant, but because they held truths too unsettling for the average person. Tales of giants, fallen angels, dark revelations about the nature of evil on earth, and even secrets about the divine that could shake the very foundation of faith. So how would you react if you found out that these texts exist yet were intentionally kept from us? The Book of Giants. Our journey begins with one of the most mysterious texts ever uncovered, the Book of Giants. Though barely known, this manuscript is beyond fascinating. It was discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, dating back over 2,000 years. Only a few surviving fragments of the text remain, but even those small pieces paint a shocking and terrifying picture. The Book of Giants tells the story of the Nephilim, a race of giants born from the union between fallen angels and human women. They're briefly mentioned in the Bible, but unlike the subtle reference in canonical scriptures, this book dives into the full story, revealing a tale of chaos and destruction. The Nephilim were monstrous beings, giants of unimaginable strength and wickedness, who wreaked havoc on the ancient world, corrupting humanity, destroying crops, and poisoning the land. They weren't just mythical figures, they were real creatures that brought actual calamities to the world. But why was the story hidden? What's so dangerous or disturbing about the tale of the Nephilim that religious authorities felt the need to leave it out of the Bible? Maybe the answer lies in how the Book of Giants portrays the relationship between celestial beings and humankind. These fallen angels, known as the Watchers, rebelled against divine orders, and their actions paint a much darker and more complex picture of the supernatural world than we're used to. Giants, fallen angels, and apocalyptic visions. According to the text, after descending to Earth, the Watchers took human wives and created a race of beings that quickly spiraled out of control, throwing the world into chaos. The visions within the book foretell an unavoidable future of destruction, with the Great Flood as the only means to purify the world and erase these abominations. Enoch, the prophet, is one of the few humans who plays an active role in the story, warning the Nephilim of the disaster looming ahead. He receives apocalyptic visions and is sent to advise the giants to repent, but as we know, his warnings went unheeded. So why was this text excluded from the official scriptures? One reason could be its worldview, which might have been too much for religious authorities to accept. The idea that celestial beings could rebel against God and cause such widespread devastation would have been deeply disturbing. It questions the divine order and the universe's balance. Moreover, the detailed descriptions of the Nephilim make the text feel more like a horror story than a traditional religious scripture. These tales, filled with mythical figures and cataclysmic events, make us wonder, how much of history is missing from the story we know? How many other accounts were left out because they didn't fit the official narrative? The Throne of Satan. Now, let's move on to another spine-chilling mystery, the Throne of Satan. In the Book of Revelation, there's an enigmatic passage that mentions the Throne of Satan, a reference that has puzzled scholars and theologians for centuries. But what if I told you that this throne could actually be something real? A physical object that exists in our world today. In a museum in Germany, specifically the Pergamon Museum, there's a massive structure on display known as the Great Altar of Pergamon. Many believe this could be the actual throne mentioned in Revelation. This monumental structure, with its imposing presence and historical ties to pagan rituals, has long been viewed as a symbol of dark power. The city of Pergamon, where the altar was originally built, was a significant center in the Greco-Roman world, renowned for its contributions to science, art, and possibly darker cult practices. Some scholars suggest that Pergamon was considered the dwelling place of Satan because of the rituals that took place there and the presence of this monumental altar, which could represent the power of evil in the physical world. But the story gets even more intriguing. During the Nazi regime, Adolf Hitler became obsessed with this altar, ordering it to be reconstructed in Berlin. Was this purely coincidence? Or was there something deeper, something connecting this altar to the dark power that Hitler sought? It's a question that remains unanswered, yet it raises chilling thoughts about how much history keeps hidden from us. Could it be that evil isn't just an abstract concept, but something tangible, something represented by objects and physical places that hold a dark energy? The throne of Satan could be one of these places, a direct link between the earthly and spiritual realms, where forces beyond our understanding play their part. The Slave Bible. Now let's shift focus slightly, but we're still exploring how sacred texts can be manipulated to serve dark purposes. A disturbing example of this is the Slave Bible, a version of the Bible published in 1807 and used by British missionaries to control enslaved Africans in the West Indies. This version of the Bible was drastically altered, with about 90% of the Old Testament removed and nearly half of the New Testament cut out. Entire books, like Genesis, were excluded. And why was this done? Because passages about liberation, resistance, and hope were deemed too dangerous for enslaved people to hear. Stories like Moses freeing the Israelites from Egyptian bondage could inspire revolt and defiance, something colonial slave owners couldn't allow. By modifying the Bible this way, missionaries and colonial powers were using religion as a tool of oppression, ensuring that slaves remained submissive. It's a shocking example of how even sacred texts can be twisted to reinforce systems of control, and it makes us wonder how many other times this could have happened throughout history. The Lost Gospels. Continuing our journey through banned texts, we arrive at the Gospel of Judas, one of the most controversial manuscripts ever discovered. Unlike the traditional story we know, where Judas is portrayed as the betrayer of Jesus, this gospel offers a completely different perspective. In it, Judas is shown as Jesus' closest disciple, the one whom Jesus trusted to play a crucial role in his divine plan. According to this gospel, Judas's betrayal wasn't an act of greed or malice, but an obedience to a direct request from Jesus. This text flips everything we know about the biblical narrative and raises a crucial question. What if Judas, instead of being the villain, was actually the misunderstood hero of this story? The church found this gospel so unsettling that it was labeled as heretical, effectively removing any chance of it being included in the Bible. But why was it so dangerous? Perhaps it's because it challenges the idea of absolute good and evil, suggesting that the story of salvation is far more complex and ambiguous than we've been led to believe. Another equally intriguing text is the Proto-Gospel of James, which details events from Jesus' childhood and offers insights into the life of his mother, Mary. This gospel shows us a version of Jesus' life that we never imagined. It reveals, for instance, that Mary was miraculously conceived, raised under divine protection, fed by angels, and destined for a unique role in God's plan. Yet, despite its popularity among early Christians, this gospel was rejected by the church and classified as apocryphal. But what could be so dangerous about this story? Perhaps it's the idea that Jesus showed signs of his divine nature from childhood, indicating he wasn't just the Son of God, but a divine presence on earth from the very beginning. The secret excavation in Tarsus. The mystery of the Red House. As we near the end of this mysterious journey, there's one more fascinating and unsettling enigma to explore. Picture a simple, unassuming house located in the town of Tarsus, Turkey. At first glance, it seems entirely ordinary. However, in recent years, this red house has become the focal point of one of the most intriguing archaeological and religious mysteries of modern times. It all began on a seemingly normal night. Nearby residents awoke to the sound of heavy trucks, excavation machines, and the sudden presence of a large number of workers. But this wasn't just any construction project. Armed guards surrounded the house, preventing anyone from getting close or asking questions. And what makes this event even more mysterious is that these excavations continued for nearly a year, all under the utmost secrecy. So, what were they looking for? And more importantly, who was behind these excavations? Many theories have emerged, but one of the most persistent and intriguing ones suggests that the Vatican was directly involved. There are rumors that the excavations were ordered by none other than Pope Benedict XVI himself, who visited the Tarsus region in 2008. But why would the Vatican be interested in a simple house in a Turkish town? One fascinating theory is that the Red House was built over the ruins of an ancient temple dedicated to Mithras, a sun god worshipped by Roman soldiers, and, according to some scholars, connected to secret societies. According to historical records, this temple might hold religious artifacts of immense value, perhaps even texts or manuscripts dating back to the early days of Christianity, long before the New Testament was formalized. Adding even more mystery, Tarsus is known as the birthplace of St. Paul, one of Christianity's most influential figures. St. Paul authored many of the texts that make up the New Testament, and some believe he may have left behind or hidden original manuscripts never made public. Could the Red House be concealing a treasure trove of information about the early days of Christianity, perhaps even an alternative version of the New Testament or a gospel the Church has kept hidden for centuries? But here's where things get even more unsettling. After the excavations ended, everyone involved simply vanished without a trace. The Red House was sealed up, and to this day, no one knows what was truly found there. Nothing was officially reported, no artifacts were displayed to the public, and the mystery remains untouched. What could they have found during those months of intense digging? This theory brings up a bigger question. What other secrets might the Church be guarding? The Vatican has been accused over the centuries of hiding documents and artifacts that could change the course of history. The possibility of a Paul's Bible, an original manuscript that might differ from later versions of the Bible we know, would be a discovery so monumental that it could shake the foundations of faith for millions. So why all the secrecy? Why would the Church or any other organization go to such lengths to keep something like this hidden? And what does this mean for our understanding of Christianity, the history of religion, and truth itself? Perhaps the answer is both simple and terrifying. Some truths are just too powerful for the public. There are secrets that, if revealed, could unravel the very fabric of society. And maybe what was uncovered in that red house is one of those secrets. After exploring mysteries from the shocking Book of Giants, through the dark enigma of the throne of Satan, the unsettling manipulation of the slave Bible, and the groundbreaking revelations of the lost Gospels, to the mystery of the secret excavation in Tarsus, we find ourselves at a new understanding of what could be hidden in the depths of history. These ancient texts and hidden discoveries challenge our sense of truth and make us question how much we actually know about the past. How many secrets are still buried? How many untold stories could change everything we believe to be true? This journey through hidden mysteries brings us to a fundamental question. What else is being kept from us? Could it be that the history we know is just a small piece of a much larger truth? And if so, what's the cost of uncovering those secrets? Now that you've been introduced to some of the deepest and most haunting mysteries in history, there's one final question. Are you ready to accept that what we know about the world might not be the full story? If these stories intrigued you as much as they did us, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. There are countless more mysteries waiting to be unraveled, and together we can continue this relentless search for the hidden truths.